This is Sharp Money with Patrick Meagher and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're back Sunday night into Monday morning. Sharp Money. Mike Somich, I'm Patrick Meagher. Matt Deutsch hanging out as well. As we just come off, we should figure out why Aaron Rodgers is playing football at this point. The Chargers a 25-10 winner. I was off on this. The Steelers' little defensive performance last week did not stand up tonight, though the offense was absolutely putrid. Chargers do cover the 3. 25-10. It just ended. Stays under the 45.5 here, Mike, but I did mention Rodgers because, yikes, he did not look good. The offense looked very flat for the Steelers.
It was not a pretty game unless you had the under. So it was a fun one to have first half and full game under because this thing never even came close to the total. You had late 17 points in the fourth quarter, but it was already much too far out of reach for the Steelers to be able to come back. And the story from this, really, you mentioned it, it's twofold. It's Rodgers who has, in my mind, been dancing through raindrops with arm talent all year, but not playing very good football. You kind of saw that come out where the scramble plays that had been working all season did not work tonight. Missed DK Metcalf deep early, and that was kind of the tone setter for the game for Rodgers. And the defense, which was so incredibly good out of absolutely nowhere last week, just could not slow down a Chargers offense that had no offensive line. And we saw the sacks that we were able to gain, but again, Herbert didn't turn the ball over like Jones did, which meant this offense had to drive the field every time they were on it, and that was just not working out for them. So I thought it was a very nice win from the Chargers to be able to take care of business here in a game where they were favored, and the Steelers were just flat. I mean, this is a fraudulent Steelers team. We've been talking about it for weeks.
Please don't let me buy back. I'm not buying back in on the Steelers team.
I was shocked when you did.
I know. I'm not overly impressed, to be fair. The defense was great, but again, it was just such a bad offensive performance. I thought the Chargers defense played well. They're going to have problems on both ends, left and right tackle moving forward. We know the story with Alt and Slater. We can round back on this one. Of course, as we do Sharp Money, we're here on Sunday night. We get the openers, and then we come back on Thursday as these numbers bake. Just quickly, an overview. Early on Sunday, felt like a lot of dogs were covering. We'll get to a 244 rush and 3 touchdown performance in Berlin from Jonathan Taylor, a comeback win there for the Colts. And then in the late window, it was just 3 blowouts. So kind of a chasm there with dogs early and the favorites blowing out the dogs later. So let's get started, Mike, and we'll start, like I mentioned, rotation in Berlin, and that is Atlanta. Are we ready for the Raheem Morris experience to be done? I know I'm going to keep harping on this. It was an overtime winner, 31-25. So depending where you got this number on who covers, but Indianapolis does win in Berlin.
Yeah, this one actually closed 6 most places. So if you got the closing number on the Colts at -6, you ended up pushing. If you got any number during the middle of the week, the Falcons cover. The teaser leg gets home here. I don't want Raheem Morris to go anywhere, Patrick. I love having Raheem Morris in there. We don't have enough terrible NFL coaches in the NFL anymore that you can just confidently say, well, he's going to get out-coached every single week. And look, yeah, it was 31-25. The stats, man, they weren't even close. 519 yards for the Colts, 290 for the Falcons. They benefited off of multiple turnovers and multiple drives that ended on downs inside of their own territory. We saw a missed extra point and a missed field goal from the Colts as well. This was a domination by this Colts offense, which just was not able to finish some drives in the first half. The Colts punted once in this game, Patrick. They just moved the ball however they wanted to. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor goes absolutely nuts, has a long 80-plus yard touchdown. I believe it was 83 yards, goes for over 200 on the ground, 3 touchdowns again. The Colts offense just absolutely humming.
You know, it's the most inconsistent team in the NFL. Like, the Falcons can beat anybody, see the Bills, but then they can't get out of their own way. You know, this is Penix made big throws today, but completed about 42% of his passes. So you mentioned the disparity on offense. The Colts were the better team, do end up winning here. So let's take a look, Mike, as we look ahead here with Indianapolis and, of course, Atlanta. Atlanta's going to be at home hosting Carolina. We'll get to Carolina here coming up in just a little bit. And Atlanta right now, I think the look ahead was 3.5, and I'm still looking at 3.5s.
Yeah, this is the look ahead was 3.5 everywhere. We're staying there. This is an interesting one because now you have Raheem Morris coming back from overseas, having to try and coach against a division rival that is able to run the football, although they struggled today. I'm going to be fascinated where this number goes. I feel like you might see some dog money here, but if we get to 3 or 2.5, you're going to get buyback on the Falcons.
Colts go on their bye. So 2 bye weeks and 2 teams going on bye in week 11. That's the Colts and the Saints. The Saints we'll get to here in just a bit. 253 on your board. Cleveland at the Jets. The Jets a 7-point winner, so obviously an outright win with Cleveland laying 2. It does go over the 37.5.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you look at the box score and you're like, wait a second, the Jets won this football game, but they get a kickoff return for a touchdown. The next time they touch the ball and they punt, they return that punt for a touchdown, get 14 of their 27 off of those 2. Justin Fields is 6 for 11 for 54 yards. What? Brees Hall, the leading receiver, with 42 yards. They mustered 169 total yards of offense in this game. But it was good enough to get the job done because of those 2 special team scores. I'm done with the Dylan Gabriel experience. I've seen enough. We don't need to see any more Dylan Gabriel. There's not a ton of weapons out there, but he's not your guy. He's not the guy, and you're going to have a terrible draft pick if you're the Browns. It's time to put in Shedeur Sanders and see if you have anything there. And if you don't, you're back into the market for a quarterback. If you do, then you can properly use your draft picks that you have coming up. But this was a disgustingly ugly game. I'm not giving the Jets any credit for this win because it was all about the special teams and those 2 touchdowns. That's really what fueled them. And they lost Garrett Wilson in game as well. So we'll see if he injured the same knee that he was out for 2 weeks with. We'll see if he's going to be able to come back and be effective. But without him, there's nothing on this offense.
The Browns, Stefanski announced after the game he is sticking with Gabriel for next week, so keep that in mind, bettors. NFL teams had been 54-4 when holding their opponent to under 170 yards. So they're now 54-5. The Jets, Mike mentioned, had 169 yards on the day. I guess it's good they didn't trade Brees Hall because he had 125 of those 169. Disgusting. Not fair if you were there in Jersey watching this game.
Yeah, it was an ugly football game all around. It flies over the total, too, which is hilarious.
It does.
For 47, the total was 38.5 when we closed at this one. So it's just an easy sleeping, just a rocking chair over here between 2 teams that did not move the football all game. It's not like this was a Browns offense that was going up and down the field. I mean, they didn't eclipse 300 yards total offense in this game either. It was just compared to the Jets, they dominated on the offensive side.
Yes, sir. So Thursday, the Jets are headed to New England. We'll get to New England. They've won 7 straight. New England, look ahead and sitting here on Sunday night with the number 10.5.
I wish I knew what the number was preseason in this game.
Right?
I bet it was like New England laying 4, maybe 3.5, something like that. And now we're sitting here at 10.5. And I don't disagree with it, Patrick.
I don't either. It really that's hilarious to think. Yeah, probably 4-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is. And we'll get to New England here in a bit. Then Baltimore heads to Cleveland. Baltimore, obviously, they pick up a win. We'll get to them in Minnesota. That's 3 straight for Baltimore. They head to Cleveland, and 8 look ahead, 8.5 reopen.
Again, an interesting move here where you're just seeing a slight tick up on the Ravens. You're still sitting in that teaser zone, kind of the dead zone between 7 and 10. One that I want to look at for a teaser leg, but I'm not running to the window. We'll talk more about this Ravens team when we get to them. I'm not ready to run to the window and say this is the Ravens that we were expecting when they were a Super Bowl contender in the preseason.
Yeah, if you can make sense of 255, so that's New Orleans at Carolina. Shuck and New Orleans pick up a win. 17-7 with a 5.5 closer there. Carolina, a team that people started kind of piling on, and it's time to get back off the bandwagon as they fall at home to the Saints.
67 total yards on their opening drive, Patrick, for the Carolina Panthers. Go down, score a touchdown. They had 175 for the game. That means that every other drive, they had 100 and essentially 112 yards. That is absolutely putrid. They had 36 more yards in the first half. They could not move the football at all after that. And what we saw was the Saints are just like, look, you're not beating us with Rico Dowdle. We're just going to stack the box.
Yep.
He goes 18 for 53, averages 2.9 a carry, and said, okay, go ahead, Bryce Young. Show me what you got. 17 for 25 for a $124. Just was not able to win this game. On the other side, Shuck was fine. Don't buy into the 282. You had a long pass to Jawan Johnson, a 52-yarder, and Chris Olave stole an interception away from Horn and then ran it into the end zone for a 62-yard touchdown. So big plays really inflated the Shuck numbers. Again, he was fine, but he was not as good as 19 for 27 for 282 and 2 tutties.
I will say more going to Shuck. At least it makes sense. It's practical. Let's see what you have. Mm-hmm. And the offense, like you said, you had to watch the game. The numbers don't necessarily equate to how he played, but they were better. You nailed it. If the Panthers aren't running the football, they're not going to win any football games. And give credit to the Saints D. They held one of the NFL's top rushing attacks to 73 yards on the ground.
Yeah, Panthers now 0-11 straight up. The last 11 times they've been a favorite. Not only did they not cover, they have lost the football game 11 times in a row. And guess what was your number 2 selection in Survivor this week, Matt?
Oh, was it Carolina?
It was. They were 1 or 2, I think. But they had over 25% of the pool on Carolina. So this was your carnage game inside of Circus Survivor as the Panthers knock out 400, almost 500 people inside of Survivor. So we are down under 1,200 people now left in that contest.
Saints go on bye week 11 with a win. Good vibes. The Carolina Panthers head to Atlanta. As we mentioned, Atlanta traveling back from Berlin. 3.5 look ahead. 3.5, 4 with the reopen.
I mean, I lean toward Atlanta, or I lean toward Carolina.
I think I lean towards Carolina as well.
And that's why I said I wonder if we're going to see Carolina money come into the market, because Carolina needs to be able to run the football. This is a team that you obviously can run the football against. We saw Jonathan Taylor just go for 200 against this defense. You also have an Atlanta team that needs to be able to run the football. And Carolina, for everything that we have said all year long, they've been pretty good against the run. So now it's relying on Raheem Morris and Penix Jr. to come back from Europe without a bye and have a great game plan to win and cover over a field goal in a division game. It seems like a lot, Patrick.
Well, they obviously are confident, and I'm talking about Carolina because they blanked them, 31-0 a few weeks back. So they feel like,
yeah,
you do have Atlanta maybe pissed off, but tough travel spot for Atlanta coming back. 2 pretty bad football teams, if we're being completely honest. Now, make it make sense. New Orleans went to Carolina and beat them up. Buffalo went to
I can't.
Buffalo went to. By the way, this is the second Buffalo game Miami very much should have won, yet today they did win it at home. 30-13 was never in doubt.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Miami was up 16-0 at half. It felt like it could have been more. When you look at the box score, you're like, well, how is this even this far apart? It was 376 for Buffalo in total yards to 370 for Miami. Buffalo turned it over 3 times. Miami did turn it over twice. You had two interceptions here. So it's not like that. Like the yardage was that drastic, the turnover differential that drastic. But the Dolphins were able to finish drives. We saw Buffalo stall out inside the red zone. A lot of Buffalo's yards was all trash time. They didn't get into the end zone. They didn't get on scoreboard, let alone into the end zone, until the fourth quarter. It was funny because I was watching this as a Dolphins fan, and I'm like, where the hell has this been all season long? Where has this defense been all season long where they're out there? And the defense for Buffalo had some injuries coming in. Their injury report, not great. But again, like Miami was moving the football at will, ground and air on them in the first half of this ball game. This was an absolute head scratcher. Kind of feels like the Steelers last week, where you're just like, all right, I'm not even going to use this as a data point. But I am officially worried about Buffalo, Pat.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I've been killing this team all year. We came into the weekend as Buffalo, your Super Bowl betting favorites. I'm looking at the market right now. They have slipped all the way 10-1. The Chiefs are 6-1. So they are now 1, 2, 3, 4. They're like your 5th betting favorite to win the Super Bowl, and for good reason. They couldn't run the football against Miami. Frankly, Allen looked lost against this Miami defense. It was a disgusting performance.
And this is a Miami team where they have been able, they sleptwalked through that first game and won by 10. They did not play anywhere near their A game. They have dominated this Miami team for multiple years. To come in and see this effort, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, just an absolute head scratcher. Now you got a Buffalo team sitting at 6-3, looking up at the Patriots in the division, with the Patriots having a game in hand on the tiebreaker as well, since they were able to win in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait a second. the Ravens stink. Well, they don't stink, but they're having a rough season, right? The Chiefs are 5-4. We could have the 1 seed in the AFC, and we're going to blow this because we lost to the Dolphins and the Patriots in division. Like this is going to be one of those where you look back if you're Buffalo, and you're just absolutely scratching your head at what happened to this season if you have to go on the road in every single one of these playoff games.
The game in hand you mentioned with New England going to Buffalo and winning at Orchard Park, that's the difference in division. The Patriots are minus 245 in division, and the Bills are plus 195.
Yeah, and I can't argue with it because it's not like this Patriots schedule, and we'll talk about them in a second here. It's not like it's difficult down the stretch. They have a couple tough games. I believe they have the Ravens and the Bills left on the schedule, but with the way that they are playing, they could. I can't believe they could win 14 games this year, Patrick. They're 8-2. The Pats could win 14 for the first time since we saw Brady out there.
So we do this program on Sunday night for this reason, and I'm going to tell you right now, in Madrid, Spain, it's going to be Washington, Miami. Miami's 2.5. Get on it before it hits 3. Ooh. Lay it with Miami. This Washington. Did you watch Washington today?
I mean, yes. Well, like I've got Mike's stat of the week comes from that Washington game because, man, it has been a rough 4-week stretch for Washington. It's not even that great. It's the first time, I think since like 1973, a team has lost 4 straight games by 20 points. They've lost 4 games in a row by 20 points. It doesn't look like it's getting any better. And
Daniels is not coming back for a while. So we know that.
Like, why?
No. There is no point. We'll get to them in just a bit. Washington, Miami, Spain. You got anything here? It was a pick 'em on the look ahead. It's 2 now.
Yeah, this one was
Miami.
Interesting because it was a pick. It was Commanders minus 1.5 early in the week on the look ahead, and we saw Miami money, so it ended up going to pick 'em by the time we kicked off. And now we are sitting here with the Dolphins minus 1.5, minus 2.5. This one feels like just throw it in your account, and if you don't like Miami, buy back at 3 or 3.5 if it gets to that point. I don't trust this Dolphins team. That's my biggest problem. They're clearly the better team on a neutral. It's just a question of how much better you think they are. The more I think about it, you're right.
I think you could have a dead Washington team in Spain.
Yeah.
I don't know what, if you watch the body language and everything that was happening against, again, it was a good performance by the Lions, which we'll get to. I do like Miami in that matchup. Okay, and good quotes from Bradley Chubb and some of the players after the game. You did get a little bit of a bounce there from Miami. Now, Buffalo's in an interesting spot, so they go back home, Samo, and they have Tampa Bay coming in. Tampa Bay lost today. We'll get to them against New England. Tampa Bay still banged up, even coming off the bye. And Buffalo, that's dropped a little bit. I believe the 6 was a look ahead, and it's down to 5.5 off the key number.
Yeah, go get Tampa if you want them now. This is going to close at like 4.5. I think that you're going to see Tampa money most likely all week because Bucky Irving should be back. Chris Godwin should be back for this game. We'll see if they're able to make it in. But the fact that they were considered questionable mid to late this week would make you think that one more week you're going to be able to be out there. However, we don't know. I mean, this Bucky Irving thing's been an absolute mess. But the Bills' defense is still going to be banged up next week, Patrick. And this Tampa Bay team stops the run extremely well. They are very hard to run up the middle. They should give Cook problems, and that means it's all on Allen again. And Baker can go out there, and he can put points up with them. I like the dog here. Give me the 5.5.
Yeah, I do too. Next one. If you bet Houston laying a point today, go get some scratch-offs because you got to horseshoe up that ass. All right, so Jacksonville, Houston, a 36-29 winner. Houston closes a point favorite. Houston scores under a minute to go. They go for 2, don't get it, so it's a 1-point lead. Jacksonville is coming down the other way. Very last play of the game. Interception taken back for 6 to cover the 1. It would have been a push. Houston, kind of a season saving, like if you want to put it that way, because the defense was great. Hunter had like 5 sacks on the night. A season saving win for the Houston Texans at home against Jacksonville today.
If I told you before this week one team in the NFL was going to score 26 points in the fourth quarter and come roaring back to win, how many guesses would it have taken for you?
I would have said Davis Mills and the Texans. What are you, crazy?
This is one of those games where you watch the first half and I just felt bad. Like I had the Jaguars team total under 19.5, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, we got a punt return for a touchdown, we have a kickoff fumble, and we have a fumble from the special teams as well. all of a sudden, 17 points that the defense was really responsible for 0 of those points. That defense shuts them down for the rest of the game, only gives up an additional 12 points. And I don't know where this came from. Nico Collins goes for $136. Woody Marks looks like he has some life in the second half after returning after being injured. And Davis Mills just kind of goes off. And you mentioned it. The defense, specifically sacking Trevor Lawrence, just made play after play after play after play and gave that offense opportunities. And they somehow took advantage of it. And all of a sudden, the Texas seasons is live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like at 4-5, they got a tough schedule coming up, but they are very much in the playoff hunt. And that's a team where if you get Stroud back and somehow this offensive line just slightly improves, they are not a team I want to see in the playoffs because of that defense.
Jacksonville, epic all-around collapse. They're up 29-10 in the fourth quarter. The offense totaled 11 yards in the final quarter. Defense couldn't get a stop. This is such a fraudulent Jags team. I think you would agree.
Yeah, at what point can we just give up on Trevor Lawrence? I mean, I've been saying that he stinks for a while now. I've not been saying he stinks. I've been saying he is not a top 15 NFL quarterback, and I feel absolutely vindicated watching this game that he is never going to be a top 15 quarterback. Like, he doesn't get the ball to his best players. He's got 158 yards in this game. They scored 29 points. He had 158 yards. They had so many opportunities to put this game even further out of reach early, and he's just unable to help his team to be able to do so. This is a huge interception that you saw at the end of the first half when they're in field goal range, and that almost allows the Texans to come down and get points. I mean, just mistake after mistake from him, and then just the mess of a fourth quarter where you run 9 plays in the fourth quarter for 1 total yard. 1 yard, Patrick.
He doesn't look sure of himself. Baker Mayfield's got some dudes' jobs, including Liam Cohen. He has not instilled any confidence in Trevor Lawrence, and they had a chance to win it. They had a timeout with 40 seconds somewhere in there, down a point. With the new kickoff rules, you don't really need to pick up much, and it was just gross. Yeah. Lawrence was sacked. It just was not very good. The Chargers quickly are going to Jacksonville. So the Chargers, I think we're a 1 on the look ahead, but we're now, as we record, just coming off a big Chargers win. So that's jumped up to 2.5.
Yeah, take the Chargers. This isn't a Jacksonville pass rush.
That's going to get the 3.
Yes, 100%. And this isn't a Jacksonville pass rush that can disrupt Herbert, right? Because that's the key with every Chargers game now. Can the pass rush on the other side make Herbert's life miserable for the entire football game? Because if they can, it's going to be hard for the Chargers to be able to score. If they can't, this Chargers team is going to be able to put up points. They've got the weapons on the outside, and they have a defense that is good enough to be able to handle a lot of these quarterbacks. And like the other part of this, Brian Thomas Jr. doesn't play this week. You've got Travis Hunter on the IR. The wide receivers are decimated in Jacksonville as well. I love the Chargers 2.5 there.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're just catching this, go bet it quickly. The 2.5s are -120 mostly juice, so it is headed to 3 with the Chargers laying it at the Jags. Now, you mentioned the Texans are all of a sudden live. They're 4-5. They should be 5-5 after next week because Houston heads to Tennessee. And 7.5, I think that was the look ahead, and it is the number.
It is. You have 1-7 available in the market if you want to go out and try and find it. I would consider the 7. The 7.5 makes it a little more difficult for me as we've got the Titans here coming off the bye. I do like this as a teaser leg quite a bit, though. I think the Texans win this football game. And we saw the Texans absolutely blow out the Titans earlier this year as well. The offense not impressive in that first half. The defense just absolutely shut down that Titans offense. Yeah,
they're in a little bit of they feel a little Baltimore-y, Houston, where I don't think there's going to be a lot of dicking around when they go to Tennessee, especially that defense. And Cam's getting sacked and pressured nonstop. I think Houston's going to have a good time with it. Tremendous teaser leg. I agree with Houston.
Should have Stroud back too.
Yep, off the concussion. Next up is 261 Baltimore at Minnesota. Baltimore, a 27-19 winner. They do cover the 4.5, so this is very much a tale of two halves. This is all about Baltimore, who didn't score a touchdown in the first half, taking advantage of turnovers in the second half, being able to run the football. A very Baltimore-y-like win here.
Yeah, it was. I'm still not back on them, though.
That's fair.
I'm not ready to fully buy in because J.J. McCarthy wasn't good in this game. He ends up 20 for 42, 248. So the numbers don't look terrible. Obviously, the completion percentage not great. But the 2 picks were kind of forced throws, and he was trying to go downfield and make something happen. It didn't work out for him on either of those plays. The offense for Baltimore still looks clunky to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're still not getting, like, your second leading receiver was Charlie Kohler, and he was 1 for 23. Zay Flowers 4 for 75, but they're not effective passing the football. The run game was better, but Henry's 20 for 75. Lamar ends up 9 for 36. Like, not a dominant run game either. And caught a very fortunate break here that you're playing the Vikings. Again, it feels like last week it was that first game with everyone back against the Dolphins was nice for them. This was another nice landing spot. If the Vikings had any more life in them, they would have won this football game.
Yeah, this had nothing to do with the Ravens' offense. This was the defense finally coming through. 2 big interceptions, 3 fourth-down stops. Minnesota turned the ball over 3 times, and the Ravens got a total of 13 points off the turnovers. That was the game.
Yep.
That was the game.
I mean, the run game was pretty tough to handle for was pretty tough for the Vikings here, as J.J. McCarthy was their leading rusher, 5 for 48. So they were able to bottle up Mason and Jones. But look, here's the problem. If you are the Vikings, you cannot have 13 rush attempts from your running back and 42 pass attempts from J.J. McCarthy. That is a recipe for disaster, especially when you are ahead 10-9 at half. Like, that is not how you're going to win football games with J.J. McCarthy.
Baltimore heads to Cleveland, and it's going to be a big number here. 8 look ahead. It's up to 8.5. Dylan Gabriel expected to be your starter again for Cleveland. Baltimore 8.5.
I mean, this Baltimore team, man, just dancing through raindrops with this schedule. I am just licking my chops to play against them if we got anybody with life on the other side. I can't do it with this Browns team, though. They're not a good football team.
No,
I don't love the Ravens. This is probably not a game I'm running to tease. It's very much in the teaser land, but I don't. Could Baltimore win by 17 pretty easily? Like, I wouldn't be shocked. So I don't want to really take the points either. I would need 10.5 to go on the Browns.
Chicago's at Minnesota in division. 2.5 on the look ahead. 2.5 reopened. There are a couple of 3s with Minnesota laying it, and Chicago another improbable comeback in the fourth quarter, which we'll get to. They weren't very good against the Giants. They did win the game.
Yeah, I mean, they were fortunate that Jackson Dart got hurt. And, I mean, that's where this starts with, right? Because this was a 20-10 game when Jackson Dart exits in the third quarter. Russell Wilson not able to do very much. And we see the Bears come storming back and winning 24-20. Kind of pissed. The over didn't hit here, Patrick, because we had 4 failed fourth downs in the first 6 drives of this game. So there were opportunities for more points to be put on the board. If Dart plays the full game, this probably goes over, as well as we only ended up 3 points off, getting over that 46.5 total. The Bears aren't a serious team, though, are they, though? 6-3. Isn't this another one for the fraud bucket?
It is, and we'll get to them here in a bit. It was an interesting game, and you're 100% right. When Russell Wilson came in, he just looked paralyzed. He was not going to be moving that offense.
Give me Jameis, man. Let's eat some W's. I don't need to see Russell Wilson anymore.
263, New England at Tampa Bay, a 28-23 winner. I was off on this one. Tampa Bay closes 2.5. The Patriots won their 7th in a row, and somehow they're getting better each week. You know, we know May is playing at an MVP level, but he finally got help from the run game, and that changed today because Henderson went off with 147 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 14 carries.
Yeah, really impressive, too, to do it against this Buccaneers defense, which headed into the week was one of the 3 best rushing defenses in the NFL. Henderson bolstered those stats with a long 69-yard touchdown run, so that definitely helps out. But still, the other 13 carries go for 80-plus yards. That's very, very good when you're looking at that few number of carries. And so the Patriots able to run the football. Drake May throws for 270, so they're able to move the football through the air as well. Mac Hollins had a big day. Kyle Williams had a 72-yard touchdown for them. So an offense that's lived off big plays continues to live off big plays, and this was key too, only 1 sack for Drake May today, as he was the second leading person in sacks in the NFL heading into this game. Only gets sacked once, and when you're not getting sacked and you're getting big plays, you're going to be a problem. And this was a Patriots team that had the lead all second half and was able to put away a Bucs team that kept trying to come back and just kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, the Pats are 8-2, so obviously a real threat to win the AFC East, but also a threat to earn that number 1 overall seed in the entire AFC. Two names that stand out to me if you're a Patriot fan, and that would be Matt Collins and Travion Henderson. You got somebody else besides Diggs, and you got a little run support for the quarterback.
This is a Patriots team that's ripped off 7 in a row now, Patrick. Do you remember who their 2 losses are to? They lost week 1 to the Raiders.
Oh, that's right, at home.
At home, 20-13. They lost week 3 to the Steelers, 21-14.
But they turned the ball over 5
times.
They've turned it over 5 times.
They're 5-0 on the road and have 2 fluky losses. This is going to be a 10-0 Patriots team. What,
they could They could be the 1 seed.
Yes.
Genuinely. Tampa Bay's at Buffalo. We both mentioned taking the 5.5.
Yeah, give me the Bucs here. This Buffalo team is we are starting to see that this is not just a week-to-week issue. This is a season-long issue for Buffalo. They're just not the team that everyone expected at the start of the season, and they came out and they walloped the Chiefs, which kind of threw everybody off the scent. But you look at some of these other games for Buffalo, and you're like, what are we doing? Like, why can't we get that performance every single week? You could see that it was possible they would slide back after that Chiefs game, but I didn't expect it to fall this far.
New England goes in division. They go back home. Now, we talked about it, the Jets at the Patriots on Thursday night, so coming up in a few nights here. This is interesting because everybody's showing 10.5. Pinnacle of Sharp Book showing 13 on the Pats.
I'd lay the 10.5 now. I don't think you're getting. I think this is going straight to the moon. And what makes you think this Jets offense is going to move the football against New England? Garrett Wilson probably not going to play on a short week. So all of a sudden, you've got no real wide receivers out there. Breece Hall is your only real threat on the offensive side. I don't really care if it's Taylor or if it's Fields. No big difference there. And you've got a Jets defense that doesn't mind giving up big plays against a Patriots offense that absolutely manufactures them. I'll lay the 10.5 now.
Giants at Chicago, 265. Chicago closed 4, so it's a push, 24-20. The big news here, Jackson Dart missed time in the second half with a concussion that kind of stalled everything the Giants were trying to do. This is second straight week the Bears scored a game-winning touchdown in the final 2 minutes. It wasn't as dramatic as the Bengals game, but you're not a big Caleb Williams guy. I will say in these spots late, he has come through.
I didn't mind how Caleb Williams played today. He had a couple touchdowns that were dropped too earlier in this game. I thought this was one of the better games we've seen from him. Now, it's the New York defense, right? That makes a lot of people look good when they're throwing the football, but this was a very good Caleb Williams game. Spread the ball out. Odunze for 80. We saw Loveland and Burden each go over 50 as well through the air. Swift and Monangai ran the ball well. Both averaged over 4 a carry. Williams went 8 for 63, so able to move the ball with his legs when he was catching pressure as well, which is something we asked for him to do more of last week, and here we are seeing it. Dart is the big storyline here for me. And I guess let's start with the Bears. I still kind of think this team is a little fraudulent. This is a game where they probably lose if Dart doesn't get hurt. And so I'm not running to want to have them be a favorite. I mean, we got to remember now, this is like the Bengals win last week was absolutely crazy. They probably should have won that game, though. But they've got a 1-point win over the Commanders, a 1-point win over the Raiders. This team could have lost 4 more games and be sitting here at 2-7. But yet we're 6-3. So this is not a Bears team that I want to buy into, Patrick.
Yeah, I think the offense is legit, but the defense is terrible. I mean, again, they're coming through in big spots. I don't disagree with your assessment. It's a team that feels like next year, but the record says differently because they just keep winning.
Yeah, they need to improve the defense next year. But again, this is a good spot for them. Taking on the Vikings next week, like that's not a
yeah. I'll take the 3 with Chicago in Minnesota.
Exactly. Like if they're laying 3, we're talking a completely different story. But catching 3, you're like, well, they should be able to score points. I do think this is a situation where it's not like Ben Johnson doesn't know this Vikings defense. He was in the division, so he completely understands how to attack this Vikings defense. He has actually a very similar offense, just kind of a poor man's Detroit Lions offense right now with all the different pieces that he can use. So I'll take the 3 here with the Bears as well. I think that probably never gets to 3.5.
And the big news, Green Bay is going to head to the Giants. 7 on the look ahead. Circa showing 8.5. Other shops are showing DraftKings, FanDuel 7.5. Green Bay laying it, and the only thing that matters here is who's going to be starting at quarterback for the Giants.
Yes, you're right. And let's have a. What do you do with Jackson Dart now, Patrick?
I don't play him.
This is a Giants team that's now 2-8. They have lost 3 football games.
I've seen enough.
Absolutely.
I know he's going to be my starter next year.
Yes, and this is what's surprising to me. This is the 4th time he has had a concussion or was checked for a concussion in game. Once in the preseason, 3 times in the regular season. He's only started 6 games, Patrick. Like every other game, he's getting checked for a concussion because of the style that he plays. And we talked about this last year with Jaden Daniels. Like, dude needs to learn how to get down, needs to learn how to slide to be able to protect himself. Didn't get hurt last year. We've seen injuries for Jaden Daniels all year this year.
Good point.
Dart needs to figure out how to walk the fine line between being an absolute dog out there and staying healthy, because he cannot continue to lower his head and lower his shoulders and go into linebackers and go into safeties and expect he's going to make it through 17 games.
Got to give Dayball credit for not running into the tent and dragging him out by his face mask while he was getting checked for a concussion. So it seems as though Dayball has grown up a little bit. That is an interesting question you do ask about Dart, because there's so many politics going on that are going on there.
Yep.
You know for a fact Dayball wants to see Dart continue to play so he can continue to tell management, I need to continue to grow this kid. But you just said it perfectly. So many concussions. Mm-hmm. You know he is the future, or you have an idea that he is going to be your starter next year. What's the point?
Yeah, I don't think it makes a ton of sense at this point. And I realize he'll probably, like, it's the NFL, they're going to play him. But this is one of those situations where I'm not sure it makes a ton of sense, especially considering, again, 4th time he's been checked for a concussion. 1st time he's had one, but 4 times he's been checked for it. And I like you mentioned, Dable didn't run to the tent. He left him out there multiple plays after he got the concussion.
He's a donk.
I mean, like, it's just, it's a mess, man. They need to get rid of Dable. I like Dable. It's time for him to move on in New York. The voice isn't working.
Beep, beep, beep. That's the wagon that's coming called the Seattle Seahawks. that is the wagon that is Seattle. Because Seattle, and it could have been worse, they beat Arizona today 44-22, obviously cover the 7.5 close. Don't really know what else to say about Seattle at this point. They're very balanced. We keep on using that cheesy word, but I don't know how else to say it. They do everything well.
This game was over in the first quarter. It was 21-0, right?
I think it was 28-0.
It was 28-0 after a fumble return for the touchdown. Second of the game in the early second quarter, so 14 points from the offense, 14 from the defense. Sam Darnold threw 10 passes in the first half, ended the game with 12, and the team scored 44 points.
That's incredible.
He was 10 for 12 for $178, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. JSN still gets his. He gets 93 yards, first wide receiver in the NFL to go over the 1,000-yard mark. Cooper Kupp, 2 for 74, has a 67-yard touchdown, or has a 67-yard pass that ends in a touchdown for the Seattle team as well. They didn't even take Rashid Shaheed out of the garage. He barely ran routes in here because they were up 28 right out of the gate. They're like, we don't need to show anybody what we're planning on doing with him down the line. He ends up running for 20 yards, catches 1 pass for 3 yards. But again, Darnold threw 12 passes in this game.
Well, they ran for 198.
And they
Seattle
blew the doors off them.
They were up 35-0. They ran for 198 yards. If Seattle gets a run game, they, without a doubt, everybody should be thinking of them as a Super Bowl team.
And this is one of those box scores, just like, if you look at just the box score, and you're going to hear people, like, this is a little bit of a faulty final because, Arizona had 21 first downs to Seattle's 22, and Arizona had 335 yards to Seattle's 372. Seattle didn't try for 2.5 quarters on the offensive side of the ball. Like, they were just like, we're just going to keep grinding clock and keep running the football because we're picking up 4 or 5 yards. We don't need to roll out the Lamborghini here and just keep that offense going through the air.
Yeah, they were chilling. I'll save Seattle and Los Angeles, which may be the game of the year. San Francisco heads to Arizona. 49ers were 1 on the look ahead. They're up to 2.5, and many shops are showing 49ers laying 3 at the Cardinals.
Man, what do you do?
I like the Cardinals at 3.
That's kind of it's like I don't love jumping over to the Cardinals side. What's the total in that game, Patrick?
The total is 48.
Give me the over. Give me the over here. You're not going to have to deal with weather at all. This is a Cardinals
San Francisco defense is...
There's a Cardinals defense that's very gettable, as we saw. This is a San Francisco defense that stinks out loud. Let's pop the over 48 now before you lose the key number there. There was 47.5 on the look ahead, so it is up a half point here. Let's see. Are there any 47.5 still in market in San Francisco?
No, because I've seen 48.5s. There is a 47.5 at DraftKings on San Francisco and Arizona.
BetMGM, DraftKings. Run. Don't walk. If you hear this and it's still available, 47.5 over San Francisco, Arizona.
Theater at SoFi next week. Seattle at the Rams. In division, maybe your 2 best teams in the NFC. It doesn't get much better in this. Look ahead was 2.5. Everybody is showing 2.5, which makes sense. Not a 3, because what do you do here? Going to be a lot of Seattle fans at SoFi. This is about as coin flippy as it gets for me.
I mean, I think if you can get a 3 with the Seahawks, you take it.
I'll take the 3. I don't know if you're going to get there.
I don't know either. Devontae Adams injured in game. We'll see if he is going to miss next week. He obviously makes a huge difference here. Keep an eye on the secondary for the the Seahawks. They lost 3. They were out 3 secondary players this week. You obviously want that to get healthier against Stafford and the Rams. Man, this might be another over too, Patrick. Now that I think about these two offenses.
48.5.
Yeah, look ahead was 47.5. Let's go back to the good old board there, see if anybody is sitting at 47.5 still. Nope, we are painting. Ooh.
Oh, Heritage.
I found a 48. Is there a 47.5 at Heritage?
Yeah.
I might need to find someone who has Heritage.
Yeah, that game, like Mike said, if a 3 pops, I just think you're going to see that thing stall at 2.5.
Yeah, the thing is this is one of those classic NFL games where the correct line is 2.5. The home
totally
team should
agree.
be favored, and it's going to be 2.5. Like, I don't think you're going to see buy down. What about Seattle as a teaser leg? Do you think this is a situation where the Rams blowout is in the possibility, or are you confident getting 8.5 with Seattle?
I think I am good with a total on this one, but I will just sit back and enjoy these two teams. And I think the offenses, we saw what happened with the Rams, who we'll get to coming up in 2 games. I mean, the Rams were just having fun offensively against the 49ers.
Yeah, they were toying with them. But that 49ers defense is terrible. So is the Cardinals. So you're seeing 2 offenses that were high-powered that got to just pick on defenses. I like the over here. I think that makes the most sense. Right now in division, if you look out in the NFC West, you can get Rams minus 110, Seahawks plus 115. If you look at Super Bowl, Rams are plus 700, Seahawks plus 850. So huge equity game here, because if the Seahawks can win, they take control of the number 1 seed in the NFC and the division, and that would be quite the storyline as Sam Darnold through 11 weeks would be the number 1 seed in the NFC back-to-back years with 2 different teams.
Well, it'd be Sam Darnold, and on the other side, Drake May.
Yeah.
like you wrote it up at the beginning of the year. 269, Detroit went to Washington, cover the 7.5, 44-22. Dan Campbell takes over play calling duties, and they ran for like 260 yards. No surprise there. Boat race.
Getting the 3 didn't matter. It was nice to have, but that made absolutely no difference as we got -3 in this game last Sunday night.
Yeah.
They covered every number. They covered every alt. This was just a dominating performance by the Lions in a spot where it was highly probable you were going to get a dominating performance by the Lions, right? I mean, this is just coming off of a division loss. You knew you were going to get a motivated Detroit team here. Ran for less than 100 yards last week. You mentioned it. Ran all over him. Gibbs looked incredible in this spot. Williams looked incredible on the outside. Goff goes for 320, very efficient 320 with 3 touchdowns as well. When you get the good Detroit, they are an absolute truck. I kind of want to say last week was more of an anomaly. Just not the performance that you would expect, and the offensive line injuries in game were a big reason for that. But this is a really good Lions team. But if you can pressure Goff, it becomes a problem. But outside of that, it's a very good Lions team. Yeah,
Lions scored on their first 8 possessions, and they didn't. The game ended on their 9th. So they had 540 yards and 44 points against the Commanders, which is why I like Miami in Madrid. Next up for Detroit, taking a look, they're going to be good
Banger.
one next Sunday night. Detroit's at Philly. Philly 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's the second and third choice in the Super Bowl, the Rams and the Seahawks. The fifth and sixth choice in the Super Bowl here, Lions and Eagles. We'll see what happens with this Eagles number as they have a Monday night game taking on the Packers tomorrow night. We're seeing money coming on the Eagles in market. That's the Eagles should be favored. And 1.5 is basically saying that this would be a pick 'em on neutral, which I kind of agree with. So
Yep.
I can't. This is another one where if I can ever get a 3 on the Lions, I'm probably going that direction. I do think the Lions are a solid teaser leg here too, though. I don't see the Eagles blowing the doors off the Lions.
Rams 42 at San Francisco. San Francisco 26. An easy cover of the 6 for the Rams. And the 26 points from San Francisco, a lot of that is just foot off the gas for the Rams because, I mean, offensively, they were just doing literally Puka blew up. Stafford's an MVP. Not enough superlatives to use when talking about this Rams offense right now.
They just got whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted it, right? Stafford's efficient, 4 touchdowns, 280 passing. Williams and Corum both efficient on the ground. They go 13 and 14 carries apiece, average 4+ yards on each of them. Adams goes off, Nakua goes off. You get a touchdown from both of them. Now, Nakua did leave the game. I'm sorry, Adams did leave the game. So Adams is the person that you need to watch on the injury report here because he obviously a huge piece of this offense. With Puka and with Adams out there, that's always going to be the best version of this Rams team. So keep an eye there on the Adams injury as we move forward. San Francisco's an over team, Patrick. We've talked. This is an offense that's going to move the football as long as McCaffrey's out there. If he is out there, it works with pretty much any other piece around because Mac Jones is good enough. Purdy is good enough. You've got Kittle. You've got wide receiver pieces. This is an over team as long as McCaffrey's healthy.
Yeah, 37-year-old Rams quarterback Stafford, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. But the big one is I think 5 different players had 30-plus receiving yards, so he's spreading the ball around. Tremendous, 7-2. I still don't understand on a Thursday night how they lost at home to San Francisco, but I'm not bitter.
I am. I had a survivor leg on that, so that wasn't fun. I laid it with the Rams. I think I had them in teasers, so that wasn't fun either. Look, man, this is a really good Rams football team. They deserve all the accolades they're going to get. The MVP market is not up right now. I really, really would love to see who your favorite's going to be in that market. Because it was Josh Allen coming into this week. It's not Josh Allen exiting this week.
Oh, no.
Drake May was the 3rd choice. Stafford was the 4th choice. You're going to see some love for Jonathan Taylor. Patrick Mahomes was the 2nd choice. Does he move up? Or is it going to be someone like Drake May or someone like Stafford that jumps him? And Taylor's going to be right up there as well. So fascinating when that market reopens. Then
finally, Sunday night, 273, Pittsburgh with... It's hard to play poorer than they did tonight at the Chargers. Chargers 25-10 win. They cover the 3. It's just with Rodgers, even the body language. What's he playing for? Literally, what's he playing football for?
I don't know. And it's DK Metcalf and nothing on the offensive side when the broadcast is trying to hype up the fact that Darnell Washington is this tight end that is like elusive and that can get the ball because he's huge. It's like, that's great. He's a good run blocker. If you're trying to hype him up in the passing game,
it's a joke.
You got a problem. You need some more weapons there in Pittsburgh. And again, I just point to the fact that when you watch this team play, if they're forced into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, good luck. They cannot push the football down the field. They go 2 for 11 on 3rd down in this game. There's nothing scary about this Pittsburgh offense. And if the defense doesn't play like it did against the Colts, this is a bad football team. It's just that simple. They're not good.
All you need to know about the Pittsburgh offense, you nailed it. It's just Metcalf. 4th and 4, game kind of still in the balance. They throw a fade route to Metcalf, who was double covered. Huh?
Hey.
Rodgers cursing out every player that drops a ball. Super good teammate.
Love him.
Good vibes with Aaron. Okay. And then we finish up our Sunday night edition of Sharp Money with a great game on Monday night. If you're downloading this tonight you got a good one. Philadelphia is at Green Bay, and Green Bay is a point and a half. I do see a pick'em in the market.
It's been all Eagles money. I mean, it's been just fascinating to watch.
Three look ahead for Green Bay.
Yeah, 3 look ahead, 3 for some of the early week. We ticked to 2.5. We kind of held at 2.5 for a while. And then all of a sudden, it's just been Eagles money yesterday, Eagles money today. Like you mentioned, there's one pick in the market. There's ones in the market. There's 1.5s in the market. It's just been a landslide of Eagle money here. We're getting very close to the point where Mike bets the Packers again, though. Like this is
tomorrow night, tonight,
yeah, tomorrow on Monday night. Like this is. I can't agree when we get this down this low. You're now saying the Eagles are a better team than the Packers on a neutral, and these are two very stop and start football teams. We have not seen either of them play consistent in the way that you want to. I'm not sure there isn't more talent on the Packers than the Eagles.
I don't disagree with you, but I just watched the Packers dick around against Carolina.
Yeah.
They hardly punted, and they just couldn't score.
They didn't punt. Yeah.
They didn't punt, and they scored like 14 points.
Well, that's the problem with this Packers team, okay? They looked like a Super Bowl contender against the Lions in Week 1. They have dicked around every week since.
Correct.
They dicked around
Literally.
They dicked around against the Browns and lost. They tied the Cowboys. They needed to come back late against the Bengals. They needed to come back against the Cardinals. They needed to come back after a bad first half against the Steelers. They lose to the Panthers. We have not seen that Packers team from Week 1 again. And you have Christian Watson back now. You did lose Tucker Kraft, obviously a big piece there. Man, if Pick'em becomes the prevailing number, I'm going to be on the Packers.
Okay. Probably would go Eagles, but I don't love the game.
It's not going to be a big one for me either way. This is one of those games. I don't trust either of these football teams.
I don't either.
The biggest problem for me is that I don't believe if you ask me who's going to bring their A game, I don't know. There's like a 70% chance both of them do. But there's not one team that I'm more confident is going to actually show up for this football game.
Yeah, and that's probably where I'll end with my theme for Week 10 is as far as trust. They're always going to get love in the market. We got to believe what we're looking at with Buffalo. Buffalo went to Atlanta and got just straight up beat. And then they came off a bye, went to Carolina. We know what Carolina is. Buffalo got punked in Miami today. That's my thing. Like, walking out of this, I'm not buying in on Buffalo the rest of the way.
I'm not ready to just be out because
they're going to get healthier on defense.
They will. And that was also a situation where, you shouldn't let down in division, but they basically acted like they won the Super Bowl when they beat the Chiefs. It was a clear letdown spot for Buffalo here, taking on a Dolphins team that you've dominated for 5 years. I'm not going full benefit of the doubt. It is definitely one of those games you want to take a look at and decide how you want to rate it. But I think people are going to overreact to Buffalo in the near term, and that may give you an opportunity down the line to be able to play them. They have the Texans in 2 weeks on the road. They have the Steelers in 3 weeks on the road. So this is not an easy stretch for them. Even the Bengals in 4 weeks at home. That's an offense that can put up points. We can't see this version of Josh Allen if you're going to play that offense, and then it's at Patriots. So this is it's going to be a fascinating 5-game stretch for this Bills team.
Theme for you, Week 10, before we go?
I don't think there's very many great football teams this year, Patrick. That to me is this is one of the more wide open seasons I have ever seen in the NFL. So if you want to take a shot, take a shot, because you look up and down this list and it's like, okay, let's just look at the Super Bowl favorites right now. If you go into the futures market, you've got the Chiefs as your plus 600 favorite. They're 5-4, Patrick. Okay, the Rams are second. The Seahawks with Sam Darnold are your third choice to win the Super Bowl. I love the Seahawks. We think Sam Darnold's winning 3 straight playoff games, possibly on the road if they lose tomorrow night.
New England might be a 1 seed.
New England, it looks like they're going to be the 1 seed. They're 18-1. Why not New England at 18-1?
It's crazy.
This is just a fascinating year. I look at Detroit, and they're a team that looks like they're still alive. I don't really trust the Eagles or Packers to be able to pull it off. Then it's the Bills and the Ravens. It's like I don't. The Bills today is absolutely inexcusable. So is the Falcons' loss. And you look at the Ravens; they're not the team they were at the start of the season yet. They still have some work to do to be able to get there on both the offensive and defensive side. This is an absolutely wide open year.
Wide open. I agree. Newsletter, vsin.com/newsletter. Enter your email address. You want the injuries. You want to know what's going on with pre-picks as well. It's going to be in your inbox every single morning. Samo, great job. Good luck to your Packers tonight.
We're going to take it home, man. I'm going to end up betting the Packers. I told myself I wasn't going to bet the Packers when we're laying 2.5, and now it's like the market is almost making me do it.
A lot of Eagle money for Monday Night Football. That's it for Sharp Money. Thank you to Matt Deutsch, Mike Somich. I'm Patrick Maher. We'll see you on Thursday as these numbers bake. Talk to you then.